Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Tanvi Taneja, and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastava with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says work underway on over 1,000-kilometer metro network in 27 cities, lays foundation stone of Ahmedabad Metro Rail Project Phase 2 and Surat Metro Rail Project. Union Government releases 12th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states and union territories to meet the GST compensation shortfall. India and Japan sign a memorandum of cooperation to promote the movement of skilled workers from India to Japan. Stranded ship MV Jug Anand with 23 Indian crew members from China reaches Japan. First batch of crew to fly back tonight. And in cricket, India needs 324 more runs on the concluding day to win the Brisbane Test and Series. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focusing on hand hygiene and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of the Ahmedabad Metro Rail Project Phase 2 and the Surat Metro Rail Project this morning through video conferencing. Speaking on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi said 2 economic urban centres of the country, Surat and Ahmedabad, have got the gift of more than 17,000 crore rupees soon after Uttarayan.
देश के 2 बड़े व्यापारिक केंद्रों अहमदाबाद और सूरत में मेट्रो इन शहरों में कनेक्टिविटी को और मजबूत करने का काम करेगी। आज 17,000 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का काम शुरू हो रहा है। 17,000 करोड़ रुपए ये दिखाता है कि कोरोना के इस काल में भी नए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के निर्माण को लेकर देश के प्रयास लगातार बढ़ रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister said the biggest feature of these metro rail projects is that it is being implemented with future requirements of people.
अब आज से अहमदाबाद मेट्रो के दूसरे चरण पर काम शुरू हो रहा है। इसका लाभ शहर के लाखों लोगों को होगा। अहमदाबाद के बाद सूरत गुजरात का दूसरा बड़ा शहर है जो मेट्रो जैसे आधुनिक पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट सिस्टम से जुड़ेगा। सूरत में मेट्रो नेटवर्क तो एक प्रकार से पूरे शहर के महत्वपूर्ण व्यापारिक केंद्रों को आपस में कनेक्ट करेगा। मेट्रो के इन प्रोजेक्ट की सबसे बड़ी खासियत ये है कि ये आने वाले वर्षों की जरूरतों का आकलन करते हुए भी बनाए जा रहे हैं। यानी जो आज इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रहा है उससे हमारे शहरों को आने वाले कई सालों तक बेहतर सुविधाएं मिलेगी।
Mr. Modi said his government is working with an integrated transport approach in implementing the metro rail projects. The Prime Minister said work on more than 1,000 kilometers of metro network is in progress in the country.
पहले की सरकारों की जो अप्रोच थी, हमारी सरकार कैसे काम कर रही है, इसका बेहतरीन उदाहरण क्या फर्क था, ये बहुत भली भांति देश में मेट्रो नेटवर्क का विस्तार से पता चलता है। 2014 से पहले के 10-12 साल में सिर्फ 250 किलोमीटर मेट्रो लाइन ऑपरेशनल हुई थी। वहीं बीते 6 साल में 450 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा मेट्रो नेटवर्क चालू हो चुका है। इस समय देश के 27 शहरों में 1,000 किलोमीटर से ज्यादा के नए मेट्रो नेटवर्क पर काम चल रहा है।
Praising the fast economic development in Surat and Ahmedabad, Prime Minister Modi described these 2 cities as the powerhouse of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister Modi said Surat is the world's 4th fastest growing city at present. Describing Surat as the best model of Ek Bharat Shreshtha Bharat, Mr. Modi said that earlier 20% of the population was staying in slums in Surat, but after the availability of affordable housing, it has now come down to only 6%. Prime Minister Modi said that Ahmedabad, the country's first World Heritage City, has also got a series of development projects such as Sabarmati River Front, Kankaria Lake Front, BRTS projects and so on. He said urban economic centres like Ahmedabad and Surat will get a boost after they are connected with the country's commercial capital Mumbai through the bullet train project. Mr. Modi said that Gandhinagar was once known as the city of government employees and senior citizens, but today, with a host of premier educational and technology institutes, it is now building the new generation for the country. Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Gujarat Governor Acharya Devvrat and Chief Minister Vijay Rupani were also present on the occasion. The United Kingdom has invited Prime Minister Narendra Modi to attend the G7 summit as a guest. The G7 summit is to be held in June this year. A statement by the British High Commission said UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson is also likely to visit India ahead of the G7 summit. Mr. Johnson's earlier visit to India was called off by him due to the coronavirus situation in the UK.
The Department of Expenditure has released the 12th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states and union territories today to meet the GST compensation shortfall. Out of this, an amount of 5,516.6 crore rupees has been released to 23 states and an amount of 483.4 crore has been released to the 3 union territories with legislative assemblies which are Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir and Puducherry, who are members of the GST Council. The remaining 5 states, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland and Sikkim, do not have a gap in the revenue on account of GST implementation. Till now, 65% of the total estimated GST compensation shortfall has been released to the states and union territories with legislative assemblies. Out of this, an amount of 65,582.96 crore rupees has been released to the states and an amount of 6,417.04 crore rupees has been released to 3 union territories with legislative assemblies. The Government of India had set up a special borrowing window in October 2020 to meet the estimated shortfall of 1.1 lakh crore rupees in revenue arising on account of implementation of the GST. 12 rounds of borrowings have been completed so far, starting from the 23rd of October. India and Japan today signed a memorandum of cooperation, a basic framework for partnership for proper operation of the system pertaining to Specified Skilled Worker SSW today. The MOC was signed by Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla and Ambassador of Japan to India, Suzuki Satoshi. The MOC will help promote the movement of skilled workers from India to Japan. The MOC covers 14 categories of specified skills under which skilled workers from India who meet the skills requirement and Japanese language tests would be eligible for employment in Japan on a contractual basis. Japan would grant these workers the status of specified skilled workers. It is also expected that Indian skilled workers who go to Japan under this MOC will acquire new skills while working in Japan. A joint working group comprising officials from both the countries will be constituted in the near future to work out operational details and smooth implementation of this program.
MV Jug Anand, the Indian ship which was stranded at the Chinese port of Xingtang, reached Japan today for crew change. Sufferings of 23 Indian crew members stuck on the ship since June last year have finally come to an end, as all of them will fly back to India in the next 36 hours. Owner of the vessel, the Great Eastern Shipping Company Limited, told Prasar Bharati News that the first batch of roughly a dozen sailors will leave for India tonight. The second batch is expected to leave for India tomorrow. More from our Beijing correspondent.
After prolonged talks between Indian and Chinese sides, the ship Jug Anand was allowed to sail to Japan on 10th of January. Finally, the moment came when the sailors disembarked the ship, hoping to reunite with their families after more than a year. The shipping company said that within a couple of days, Jug Anand, laden with Australian coal, should head back to Jingtang port in China, where it will settle at the end of the queue to unload the cargo, even as China has not shown any signs of easing the import ban on Australian coal. As per reports, more than 50 vessels carrying around 8 million tons of Australian coal have been unable to discharge their cargo in China since October 2020, coinciding with the soaring of diplomatic and trade tensions between Canberra and Beijing. This has led to a realignment of trade flows in international coal trade, with Australian coal producers finding other international markets like India, Turkey, Spain, etc. On the other hand, China has also looked up to alternate producers like Indonesia, Russia and South Africa amid an extremely cold winter which heightened the demand. Anshuman Mishra for All India Radio News, Beijing.
The Tribal Cooperative Marketing Development Federation of India, TriFed, and the Indian Farm Forestry Development Cooperative Limited, IFFDC, entered into a Memorandum of Understanding today to work together for tribal livelihood generation. The Ministry of Tribal Affairs in a statement said that the two organizations have agreed to partner with each other to organize training programs for tribal artisans in the area of entrepreneurship skill and business development.
Defence Research and Development Organisation today handed over motorbike ambulance Rakshata to the Central Reserve Police Force CRPF. The Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, INMAS, Delhi-based DRDO laboratory handed over Rakshata, a bike-based casualty transport emergency vehicle, to CRPF today in a ceremony held at the CRPF head office in New Delhi. Director General of CRPF Dr. A.P. Maheshwari flagged off the contingent of 21 bikes on the occasion. The bike ambulances will provide life-saving aid for evacuation of injured patients from low-intensity conflict areas. Our correspondent reports Rakshata is fitted with a customized reclining casualty evacuation seat, CES, which can be fitted in and taken out as per requirement. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says work underway on over 1,000-kilometre metro network in 27 cities. Lays foundation stone of Ahmedabad Metro Rail Project Phase 2 and Surat Metro Rail Project. The Union Government releases 12th weekly instalment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states and union territories to meet the GST compensation shortfall. India and Japan sign a Memorandum of Cooperation, MOC, to promote the movement of skilled workers from India to Japan. Stranded ship MV Jug Anand with 23 Indian crew members from China reaches Japan, the first batch of crew to fly back tonight. And in cricket, India needs 324 more runs on the concluding day to win the Brisbane Test and the series. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The national COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 96.59%, with over 1,211,000 cumulative recoveries so far. The rate of new daily infection has further slipped even below 15,000, with only 13,788 cases being reported in the past 24 hours. During the same period, over 14,400 people have recovered from the viral contagion. The country has 50 times more recovered cases than the current active cases. Gujarat has recorded 518 new cases of COVID-19 during the last 24 hours. According to the State Health Department, the recovery rate has further improved to 95.79%. More from our correspondent.
The total number of COVID-19 cases detected so far in Gujarat has reached up to 2,55,872. Out of these, 2,45,107 patients recovered. 704 patients discharged from the hospitals after the recovery during the last 24 hours. Maximum 99 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 86 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 6,400, out of which 56 patients are on ventilator. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Rajasthan, the state government has lifted the night curfew from 13 district headquarters. The night curfew had been imposed in 8 cities worst affected by COVID-19 on the 21st of November, which was later extended to 13 cities. More from our Jaipur correspondent.
The decision was taken in a high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. Rate of COVID RT-PCR test has also been reduced from 800 to 500 in the state. The government has also decided to withdraw its orders to reserve 40% bed for corona patients in private hospitals having capacity of more than 100 beds. Now only 10 beds will be reserved for COVID patients in these hospitals. Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has appealed to the people to follow the COVID protocol. He said that there should not be such a situation that the government would be forced to take a strict decision again. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
In Maharashtra, the state government today gave its nod to convene the Gram Sabhas in all the Gram Panchayats by strictly adhering to the social distancing and COVID-19 protocol. Informing about the decision, Rural Development Minister Hassan Mushraf said, as per the Maharashtra Gram Panchayat Act, it is mandatory to convene a minimum of 4 Gram Sabhas in a financial year. If the Gram Sabha, as mandated by the Act, is not convened, the Sarpanch, Deputy Sarpanch and Gram Sevak are held accountable and subsequently action can be initiated against them. However, to stop the spread of COVID-19, Gram Sabhas were also suspended on a temporary basis in the state.
The Union Health Ministry today said that a total of 7,704 sessions of COVID-19 vaccination were conducted in 25 states and union territories, in which 1,48,266 beneficiaries were vaccinated on the third day of the launch in the world's largest COVID-19 vaccination drive on the 16th of this month. Addressing media in New Delhi, Additional Health Secretary Dr. Manohar Agnani said, with this, taking all the 3 days into account, a total of 3,81,305 beneficiaries have been vaccinated so far. Dr. Agnani also informed that in these 3 days, a total of 580 adverse event following immunization AEFIs have been reported, out of which 7 required hospitalization. He said 3 hospitalizations reported in Delhi, out of which 2 persons were discharged, while the other one is under observation at a private hospital. In Uttarakhand, 1 person was hospitalized who is stable and under observation at AIIMS Rishikesh. In Karnataka, 2 cases of hospitalizations have been reported and are under observation, and in Chhattisgarh, 1 case is under observation. He said 2 deaths were also reported, 1 each from Uttar Pradesh and Karnataka. But as per the post-mortem report, the death of the resident of Uttar Pradesh is not related to vaccination. Still with Uttar Pradesh, the state government has fixed 2 days of the week for COVID-19 vaccination drive. From next week, the vaccination in the state will be conducted on Thursday and Friday every week. Our correspondent reports that COVID-19 vaccination drive is going on smoothly in the state, and the remaining health workers will be vaccinated on 22nd, 28th and 29th of this month.
Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today inaugurated the newly constructed Burns and Plastic Surgery block of AIIMS, New Delhi, and dedicated it to Sushrut, the father of plastic surgery. Speaking on the occasion, Dr. Harshvardhan said that this block is equipped to deal with approximately 15,000 burn emergencies and 5,000 burn admissions a year. He said it can deal with mass casualties efficiently by converting the patient receiving area itself into an emergency ward as per the need. He said integration of this block with the trauma center of AIIMS will provide easy assistance to trauma team in no time. He said these steps will help reduce deaths of burn patients and also reduce the deformities in the survivors.
एक और सुनहरा अध्याय एम्स के डेवलपमेंट के चैप्टर्स में ऐड हो गया है। बर्न्स एंड प्लास्टिक सर्जरी का एक एक्सक्लूसिव स्टेट ऑफ द आर्ट डिपार्टमेंट, एक एक्सक्लूसिव 8 मंजिला ब्लॉक, जहां सब प्रकार की बर्न्स और प्लास्टिक सर्जरी से जुड़ी हुई सुविधाएं उपलब्ध हैं।
Dr. Harshvardhan also digitally chaired the 148th session of the Executive Board of the World Health Organization through video conference today. Speaking on the occasion, Dr. Harshvardhan said that COVID-19 vaccines are being successfully produced across many countries and digital technologies are being adopted. He said all this is combining to raise hopes of a new era of progress.
The South Central Railway has begun vaccination drive against COVID-19 for the frontline health workers, medical and nursing staff working in Hyderabad. The South Central Railway General Manager Gajanana Malya has formally launched the drive at the Lalguda Railway Hospital in Hyderabad today. Doctors, nurses and housekeeping staff have been given the first shot of vaccination. Union Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank today said that the new National Education Policy will provide a unique platform to fulfill the aspirations of students. He said this policy will benefit the students by inculcating scientific temperament in them and promoting extracurricular and vocational activities. Interacting with the students of Kendriya Vidyalaya in New Delhi, Mr. Nishank said National Educational Policy will create a holistic evaluation process and the policy will prepare the students to become self-reliant in every field. He said COVID-19 posed a new challenge before the country, but India is fully equipped to deal with these challenges. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened and what is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. From 10:30 to 11 p.m. every night on 100.1 FM All India Radio.
In West Bengal, Chief Minister and President of the ruling Trinamool Congress Mamata Banerjee has announced that she will contest in the upcoming state assembly elections from Nandigram seat in Purb Medinipur. Nandigram is the constituency of Shubhendu Adhikari, who has left the ruling party and the ministerial berth and joined BJP recently. It may be recalled that Nandigram was the epicenter of a farmers' agitation and Ms. Banerjee's fight against a proposed SEZ propelled TMC into power a decade ago. On the 14th of March 2007, 14 persons lost their lives in clashes between agitators and the police. Meanwhile, an incident of stone pelting was reported from Kolkata today, attacking the BJP rally. The rally led by Mr. Shubhendu Adhikari was attended by the party's state unit president Dilip Ghosh and Union Minister of State Debashree Chaudhary from Toliganj to Rashbihari area. Police said as the rally was underway, few miscreants threw stones.
The full Election Commission of India team under Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora arrived in Guwahati today on a 3-day visit to review poll preparedness. The ECI team held a meeting with Chief Electoral Officer of Assam and his team in Guwahati. Tomorrow, they will hold meetings with representatives of various political parties. After that, the team will hold important meetings with all district election officers and SPs of all the districts.
The ongoing International Film Festival of India, IFFI in Goa, offers a novel opportunity for the local delegates to acquaint themselves more with the finer nuances of the films. The opportunity of interaction with the artists and directors provides them better clarity about the film process. More from our correspondent.
In conversation session addressed by renowned filmmaker Rahul Rawal drew the attention of virtual delegates towards the evolution of Hindi films. Rawal said that the 1970s saw influx of new ideas, new experiments and new genre of action films in Hindi cinema. He also recalled how the music directors, great singers and lyricists would sit together with directors and get to know the story for adding perfection to the film. In the meanwhile, Goan youth grabbed the opportunity to hone their skills of filmmaking as the film culture is expanding in the state ever since IFFI started in Goa in 2004. With Tushar Jadhav, Mukesh Thali for AIR News from Panaji.
Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying has said that outbreaks of avian influenza have been confirmed in 5 states for poultry birds and in 9 states for crows, migratory and wild birds. It said avian influenza has also been confirmed in samples of dead heron from Tees Hazari and in crows from the Red Fort in Delhi. The ministry said that an advisory in this regard has been issued to the Delhi for taking necessary action. In Maharashtra, rapid response teams have been deployed and culling of poultry birds is underway in all the affected epicenters. Further, in districts of Harda and Mandsaur of Madhya Pradesh and in the district Balur of Chhattisgarh, teams have been deployed for culling of poultry birds around 1 kilometer radius of epicenters of the outbreak in poultry. The ministry said central teams formed for monitoring the situation in the affected areas of the country is visiting the affected sites.
On to sports news now. In cricket, India will resume their second innings tomorrow with all their wickets intact on the concluding day of the fourth and final test against Australia at the Gabba in Brisbane. India scored 4 for no loss in their chase of 328 runs in the extended final session today. Only 1.5 overs could be bowled in India's second innings on day 4 as Rohit Sharma on 4 and Shubman Gill on 1 remained unbeaten at stumps. Earlier, India bowled out Australia for 294 in their second innings after resuming the day on 21 for no loss. Steve Smith was the top scorer for Australia in their second innings as he scored 55 runs. For India, right-arm fast bowler Mohammad Siraj picked up his maiden 5-wicket haul. Shardul Thakur also picked 4 wickets, while debutant off-spinner Washington Sundar scalped the remaining 1. India had posted 336 in reply to Australia's first innings score of 369, conceding a 33-run lead. The weather forecast for tomorrow is not that great. A draw in the game would be sufficient for India to retain the coveted Border Gavaskar Trophy. The 4-match series is tied at 1-1 with Australia winning the first test in Adelaide and India winning the second in Melbourne. The third test in Sydney had ended in a draw. The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Piyush Ranjan, Assistant Professor in the Medicine Department of AIIMS, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held the pre-budget consultations with the finance ministers of states and union territories today. The meeting was held through video conference and was attended by chief ministers, deputy chief ministers, state finance ministers and senior officers from the states and union territories. The finance minister highlighted the importance of this meeting as a sign of cooperative federalism and indicated the manner in which the union government was strongly supportive of states and union territories' fight against the pandemic.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital is likely to have moderate fog. The city temperature will hover between 8 and 21 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have clear skies. The minimum temperature will be around 20 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 30 degrees. Chennai will witness partly cloudy skies. The temperature will vary between 23 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, there will be fog in the morning and mainly clear skies later. The city will observe minimum temperature of around 17 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 26 degrees. Srinagar will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy skies later. The temperature will hover between -7 and 9 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have fog in the morning and mainly clear skies later. The minimum temperature will be around 8 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 17 degrees. Leh will have cloudy skies. The minimum temperature will be around -12 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 1 degree. Gilgit will have partly cloudy skies. The temperature will hover between -6 and 11 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, skies will be mainly clear. The temperature will hover between 4 and 21 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says work underway on over 1,000-kilometre metro network in 27 cities, lays foundation stone of Ahmedabad Metro Rail Project Phase 2 and Surat Metro Rail Project. Union government releases 12th weekly installment of 6,000 crore rupees to the states and union territories to meet the GST compensation shortfall. India and Japan sign a memorandum of cooperation to promote the movement of skilled workers from India to Japan. Stranded ship MV Jaganand with 23 Indian crew members from China reaches Japan. First batch of crew to fly back tonight. And in cricket, India needs 324 more runs on the concluding day to win the Brisbane Test and the series. And with that, we end the evening news. From all of us here, good night.